Go for
Vicky
it.
Hachey, it's so good to have you on. Thank you for coming to the Love and Lettuce podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here, Laura.
You're so
And just,
welcome.
yeah,
We go
yeah.
way back. When was the last
Yes.
time we saw each other in person? Actually, we saw each other at a work event, but
hmm
before that, when was the last time that we worked together? Was it 10 years ago?
Well, it was before you had a family. So
Wow,
you said your daughter's 6 now, so
that's
it's
true.
before that. Yeah, so I would say 10 years would be accurate. Yeah, yeah, and
Wow.
lots of living in between, right?
Lots of living.
Yeah.
Like three
Yeah. Yeah.
children, a pregnancy with another child coming. Like it's
I
crazy,
know. I was
isn't
thinking
it?
about that this morning, like 4 kids. That's crazy. And so you need
Crazy.
like a cube van to transport everybody.
Yeah, we have a van.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I'm
it's
kidding.
good. It's good for now. I mean, I feel like with the car seats, it makes it like, is this really a van? Because it seems still kind of squished. But anyways, we're getting there.
Yeah,
We're getting there.
yeah,
It
yeah,
works.
yeah.
So I introduced you at the beginning, but that was kind
hmm
of like a formal introduction. I would
hmm
love to hear from you how you got into the health field and
Okay.
what you're doing now, what your passions are, whatever you want to tell me.
Okay, great. So, I started when my children were quite small. So my son was maybe two and a bit, two and a couple of months. And the thing I did is I took him off of dairy. That's all I did. And moms would know this, but he just became, it was like he came out of a fog. Now, he just turned 30 last month. I can't believe it. And back then, so this is like almost 30 years ago, or 29 years ago, there wasn't the options of dairy free like we have today.
Yeah.
And like you think about it, so he would have milk in his cereal, he'd have yogurt for a snack, or maybe cheese and crackers, pasta and cheese. We used to, dinner with a glass of milk because you wanted them to get that calcium and that
Oh, yeah.
protein because he was such a tiny little guy that he needed those nutrients, or I felt he did. And that's all I did is I took him off of dairy. And again, a mom would see it, but he just came out of a fog and he was more coherent. He was more aware of his surroundings. And yeah, that's really what I did. Then I started shopping at my local health food store. And again, it wasn't as big as the industry is today. It's just this small little niche store and trying to find those alternatives to dairy. And my poor kids, like they were the guinea pigs. Like I did so much with them growing up. But so yeah, anyway, so I shopped there and then I was there all the time asking questions. I loved it. I got a job there. And then the one girl was taking a course as a registered holistic nutritionist. So I inquired about it. And so I did this course as well. And I just did it online because my kids were still small at the time. I opened up a practice just sort of down the street from where I live, like graduated, opened up a practice, and yeah, and then the journey just began. So yeah,
Amazing.
yeah, yeah. And I continued working at that health food store that grew, and they grew to many different locations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic. And now let's
Mhm.
talk about your health food store.
Right, right. So, as you journey along, and again, I don't know, it just the store is like I can walk there 25 minutes, and I do walk there, especially today is a gorgeous day. I try to walk there every day, and yeah, it's a local community health food store. We have beautiful customers. We have great relationships with people, and I think that's what makes a difference
Mhm.
because we're engaged in their health. So you asked me how I started there. I was in corporate. I left that health food store. I went to a corporate job. It just burnt me out. Like it
Mhm.
really burnt me out. My kids were in high school at the time. And I can't do this. So I started working at, again, another small health food store. And the opportunity came to purchase the store. And I'm like, sure, why not? Like I said, I
Why
live like
not? Just
20,
purchases.
yeah, yeah, I'm 25 minutes away. I can walk or,
Yeah.
8 minutes by car sort of thing. And yeah, and so I purchased that in 2017. I developed the clinic. I have great people that I work with. The naturopath, he does IV therapy. He was a medical doctor, became a naturopath. He is fantastic. I have a reflexologist who does massage and sort of energy healing. She is fantastic. Like there's seasoned people. I have a psychotherapist that I work with. And again, seasoned, experienced people, and then my staff. So I work with my daughter, and as I said, she grew up um, in this industry. And going back to when I was first starting, I used to cart up the kids, put them in their car seats,
Yep.
head to because they had trainings before the store opened. So we would go to all these trainings. The kids would have their coloring books or, their little activities. And I just soaked it all in because I was so hungry to learn. And I would say this industry, this holistic industry, it's never stagnant. There's always something to learn. There's always new ideas, new technology, whatever. I don't want to say
Mm.
technology, but new ideas, right?
Yeah,
So
there's
yeah.
so much to learn. Like
Hmm, hmm.
you can literally never say, I know it all. I'm good.
No,
I don't need
no,
to attend that training. It's like, no, I want that.
exactly. Yeah,
I'm
and
like you, I'm
especially
hungry for it.
yeah, and I still have that hunger for it. I still want to learn. I think my caveat now is I wish I had more time.
Yeah.
Like I would just sit and soak it in, and then being with the health food store, a lot of our suppliers have trainings and webinars. And so, yeah, you're continuing learning what's going on in the industry, what's trending, that sort of idea. Right now, creatine is a big trend.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I miss being in a health food store for that reason. I was always on
Hmm.
top of it. I knew the brands. It was
Yeah.
just easy. It came quickly. And
Hmm.
now I have to rely on people like you to be like, what is
Yeah.
that one?
Yeah.
What's the
Yeah.
popular thing now? Because I'm not in
Hmm.
that customer facing environment,
Hmm.
all the time, every day.
Well, interesting you say that because when I went to corporate, and it was still kind of in that industry, but it was totally different. And when I went back to like working in a supplement store, I realized how much I forgot, and
Mm.
why you want vitamin C, let's just say, or
Yeah.
now like vitamin D is really big and how many IUs should you be taking and is it for bone health? Is it for immune? So yeah, but I want to go back. So I bought this store in 2017
Mhm.
and we went through COVID and we were open through COVID. Now I want to tell you that was really, really challenging
Yeah.
because so it's a franchise. So there's other stores and I have wonderful, wonderful support with this franchise. Like the people that own it, they are fantastic.
Mm.
And some of the stores couldn't open because they were in malls and they could be open, but no one was walking through malls.
Yeah, that's true.
And the one fella told me, he said, you know what, like he would go in and he said, it's eerie walking in the mall, like,
Yeah, it
you
would
know.
be.
Yeah, and
Then.
so yeah, so he kind of struggled through it, but like I said, we have great customers and loyal customers because it's not just, oh, here, take this and off you go. No, it's like, why do you want to take this?
Mhm.
And we engage with them and talk to them. And when they come back, we remember their names and because we've built this rapport with people. So that's what I think I love the personal touch with it, and we've kind of I don't want to say in a negative way, but we've kind of pulled away from that. Like going into a store, we don't have that personal touch. Like I'm
True.
I'm beside another corporate store and I will ask them, where do I find this? Oh, aisle four, just
Yeah.
halfway down, and I
Okay.
go aisle four, halfway down, take me
Yeah.
to the product. Like take
Yes.
2 minutes or 2 seconds, take me to the actual product. And then, yeah. So anyway, that kind of thing.
I agree. And it's more fun as the employee too, to
Yes,
be the one who takes them to the section and oh, hey, what are you making tonight? Like, or that's just
exactly.
us. I don't
Yeah,
know, but we
yeah,
like get to
yeah,
have conversations with the customers
yeah,
and,
yeah.
find out more about them. So I do love that approach. And it's not just as you said, take this supplement and then you
Hmm.
will improve your health, which could work. But it's let's talk about your diet. If you have a few minutes, let's talk about why you're looking for this particular supplement.
Hmm.
Is it because you heard about creatine lately and why it's good,
That's right.
or you want to try it, or is it something that maybe something else would be better for your goals. And so
Yes,
talking to you
exactly.
about that,
Yeah. Yeah.
people can really
Yeah.
figure it out even
Now,
more.
you probably remember back in the day when
Mhm.
that television show was on TV and people would run in and say,
Dr. Oz, we
we
can
need
say it.
Yeah, we
Right? Is
need
that
to
the
get
one?
this product. Yes.
Oh
We
my
need to get
gosh.
this product. And we would
Yes.
sell out of it.
Yeah.
And suppliers, well, here's the current trend was sea salt, Celtic sea salt.
Yep.
Um, Someone talks about it on YouTube, TikTok, whatever, not YouTube, Instagram. And, everyone wants it. And the supplier can't keep up to the demands because it's naturally sourced. It's not something made in a manufacturing
Yes.
facility. And they had none, and people were running in for it. But yeah,
Isn't it
yeah,
so funny? It's
yeah,
something that's
yeah.
been around forever and
Hmm.
available at your store forever, but
Yes,
people
yeah,
don't realize it until, yeah,
yeah.
they see this trending reel or video or
Hmm.
whatever. And
Hmm.
I think that effect is so crazy, but I think overall it's positive because it brings people in
Sure.
and
Well,
hopefully they
awareness
become
too. Yeah,
more aware overall of their health. And
yeah.
so they continue to come to stores like yours because they're like,
Hmm.
I really do want to improve my health. Hopefully they did feel a difference with whatever
Hmm.
trend they took
Yes,
and
yes,
were a
yeah,
part
yeah.
of, and they
Hmm.
want to continue. So I think overall
Hmm.
it's positive, but I remember getting those Dr. Oz. I would be signed up for his email list, so I was
Oh.
ready for the customers who would come in that day
Yes,
talking about that particular product
yes,
supplement.
yes.
And oh my gosh, it was real.
Yeah, yeah.
You have, okay, so you have a local store, which I love in Hamilton,
Hmm.
Ontario,
Yeah.
but you also reach people online.
Hmm.
And you
Hmm.
have a really big interest and passion for memory, brain
Hmm.
health, cognition.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I love
Hmm.
that. So for me, I'm already thinking of that for myself. Like I'm
Good.
gonna turn 40 this year. And I'm like, it starts like yesterday. Like it starts now. I have to really
Hmm.
support my brain. So, because it's not just a suddenly I'm 55, I retire at whatever age, 65, I guess.
Yeah.
And now I have to start taking care of my brain. It's like, no,
Hmm.
you got to
Hmm.
start early. You got to start now.
Hmm.
And if you are listening to this and you are 65 and you're like, shoot, that's okay. We're not saying
Hmm.
it's too late. It's
Hmm.
never too late, but it's also never too early, right?
Hmm.
So you
Hmm.
have what's called the Memory Method program. So
Hmm.
hear more about it, and I want to talk specifically about brain and memory because I feel like this is a topic that we do not hear enough of, and
Hmm.
I'm excited to get
Hmm.
into this with you. So
Okay.
tell us about the Memory Method program and what's involved. Like, what is it? What's involved?
Okay. Let me just backtrack a little bit because I'm OCD and I'm a type A personality. So I have this health food store, and I said going through COVID and everything. So I wanted to shift and offer something online for people, having that option.
Mhm.
And how the Memory Method program came about. Now, you have a younger audience, and like just like you said, I'm not interested in brain health. There's lots of information on heart health, cholesterol, blood pressure, um, yeah,
Hormones,
hormones,
blood
exactly.
sugar.
But the brain health it's becoming more and more aware, and they're calling it type 3 diabetes. And I get more into that within the program.
Mhm.
But this is how it started. So I have a young family, elementary age. I didn't own the health food store at the time, and my mom had a stroke. So
Mhm.
dreaded phone call, and I could start crying. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. No, it's,
Yeah,
I
so
couldn't
real.
imagine.
Anyway, long like over that year, because she lived in a different town, and sorry, I mean to do that.
No,
She
no,
lived
you're
in a
great.
different town, and it's back and forth and back and forth. I have
Yeah.
elementary age children. I had two older brothers, and so boys are not always the same as girls, right? In personal care and all that stuff. Anyway, so she couldn't go back to her house or her apartment. She just couldn't. So she came to live with us. So she lived with us for a number of years, and I took care of her. And then the last stages of her life, she lived in a nursing home. So it was right beside where we worked, and I would run over at lunchtime or, before I came to work, after work, still raising my family. And so, yeah, so this is what I want to tell your listeners because you think, okay, this is not going to be for me, but it might be for your parents.
Yeah.
And who looks after your parents? It's usually falls on the women of the family.
Hmm.
So anyway, dealing with that, my mom passed away and then I bought the store and life goes on. So I'm I have customers coming in that, brain health and they're concerned about being losing their cognition.
Hmm.
And like I said, it's a type 3 diabetes, so it has to do with blood sugar, hormones. And so that's when I started the memory method program. I got to offer something, and it's not just local, it can be for anyone, anywhere. So my mom comes from a family of 11. Seven are girls. Of the seven women, five of them had some form of dementia and brain. So my mom had a stroke. She didn't have dementia per se, but her brain started to atrophy. She was fine from the stroke, like she was cognitive and walking around, and so there wasn't. But I could see her brain shrinking, and yeah, like I remember when she came to live with us, and I was making her bed, and I said, "Come on, Mom, help me, fold the sheets, the hospital corners and the
Yeah.
sheets, right?" And she stood there and she couldn't remember how to do it,
Wow.
and it's like raising a child again,
Yeah.
like it's like she reverted backwards.
Wow.
So yeah, and that was a difficult time, but I wouldn't replace it for anything. Like I'm so glad that I was able to bring her in and look after her. And you need support from your family too. Like for my husband, he's like, yeah, of course, let's look after her.
Hmm.
And the kids too. And for them too, like it taught them compassion, like looking after their
Yes.
grandma. And anyway, so that aside, and so this memory method program, it's a 12-week program, and we visit all the different topics of lifestyle, diet, hormones, as you mentioned, liver health, brain health. So, and then there is some components of personal consultation. So not so as we were saying about the Celtic sea salt, not every trend is for everybody. So
Hmm.
it's individualized so that, you know, you might struggle with this, but they might not struggle with this. So
Yeah.
we individualize it for that person to better improve their health. Now, I will say that um, research tells us that dementia starts 20 years before you ever get a diagnosis. And like you said, even though you're 65, it's never too late. You can start turning some things around. And there's many different components to dementia. It's not just, I think the pharmaceutical company is trying to they have one thing, but they've found that pill that it's not really helping to help brain health, cognitive health, and they've found that it's not really helping. So they're trying to find a magic pill, but it's lifestyle. It's so many components. It's getting proper sleep. It's balancing your blood sugar. It's, eating the proper nutrients, the proteins. So yeah, yeah, and exercising,
So
lifestyle.
many components.
So many components and isolation. So what are seniors, so their partner passes away
Hmm.
and they're alone, and that isolation, that's another big component for dementia as well. So of every three dementia patients, two are women. And it could be because we live longer, I don't know, but two are women. And then who are the main caregivers? Women. To
Right.
anyone suffering with some sort of mental decline or cognitive decline, it's usually a woman that is helping that individual. So the memory method program is there to help you. It's a toolkit, basically. So you pick out what works for you at that time. And like I said, there's a personal one-on-one consultation to um, cater it to your needs and where you're at. And it's never too late to start implementing those changes. And it's lifestyle changes, and I'm all about practicality. And it's like, start making changes today, not tomorrow, but today, and then create that habit. Like I was saying, I
Yes.
walk to work and it's created a habit because I'm so busy that I don't always like I get up early and I do my stretching and my weight resistance and that sort of thing. But some days I don't feel like doing that,
Hmm.
but I walk to work. So I feel like, okay, I'm walking to work. At least I'm getting some oxygen to my brain.
Yes.
This morning I was walking my dog and the birds are singing,
I
it's so
know, I love it.
beautiful. Yeah, it's so beautiful. You just got to watch the ice. But yeah, so that's kind of how it started. And it's something that I'm offering to people. And now in the next 6 months, and you can hold me to this, I'm planning on writing a book
Nice.
to make it more accessible for people, so more
Fantastic.
affordable for people as well.
Yes.
But now I will say the memory method program is work, so
Mhm.
you got to prepare yourself. It's not just a one and done. It's work. And the other caveat is it's only for women. I
Nice.
only work with women because we're unique.
Hmm.
And going back to, when you go to the doctor, and it's usually like this triangle area, your breasts, your ovaries, like that's what they look at when you're talking about hormones. That's what they look at. And they don't look at women's brains, you
Right.
know? So there's a research, they scanned a woman's brain and a man's brain pre-menopausal, and so all the firing, all the electromagnetic fields are working.
Yes.
Postmenopausal, same people, they scan their brains and they see the damage in a woman's brain, and it's the man's brain is fine.
Wow.
So once we go through menopause, things are shifting, things are changing. And so that's where I want to get women being more aware of their cognitive health. And sometimes we think, okay, we go through our menstrual cycle, you're grumpy, you're brain fog, and you think, oh, that's just me, that's normal. No, it's not normal. It's common, but it's not normal. And
Mhm.
so there are things that you can be doing. It could be herbs, it could be lifestyle, it could be getting off the sugar, to help support your brain. And the brain needs fats, and we went through that whole low fat diet phase, and that was the worst thing. And
Yeah.
now everyone's vitamin D deficient. And I feel like that it was sort of a contributing factor because
Yeah.
D is a fat soluble vitamin. And
Yeah.
now everyone's on the vitamin K trend, right? Because that's another fat soluble vitamin.
Hmm.
So yeah, and I would say with memory method, it's a keto diet. So basically, proteins, fats, minimal carbs, but complex carbs, not refined carbs. And so I tell people, okay, this is the diet I want you to be on. And they're like, whoa, I can't do it. Or they would do it for a week, a month, 2 months, and they say, you know what? It's not working for me. And because I have to make a meal for me and a meal for my kids or a meal for my
Mhm.
husband. And no, just make one meal, everyone have it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's work. And that's what I'm trying to get at. It's work and it's not an instant transition. You got to work at it.
For those of us in this sandwich generation who are
Yeah,
taking care of our parents now or
that's right.
eventually and
Yeah.
taking care of our kids, would we be the ones taking the course to learn how to support our parents and to also prevent our own brain decline, if you will? Or is your target audience more of the older generation taking the course for themselves, or is it both?
It could be both. It could be
Okay.
both. And like I said, the consultation part, we are catering it to your needs.
Right. Okay.
And like I said, brain decline or cognitive decline can start 20 years before you ever get a diagnosis.
So you're not even thinking of it. Like we're talking 20
Oh,
years.
that's
Like,
right. Yeah. Give or take, right? It could be 10 years. And even like my sister-in-law was in a car accident, had a concussion, and she is very bright, she's very intelligent, and she says to me, she notices that her, and this was a number of years ago, her short-term memory is not as good as it used to be. Now we can say, okay, well, you're older now, but I feel like if you go back, part of it was of that concussion that she had in that car accident. And so nourish your brain, nourish your brain, nourish your brain, especially if you've had some sort of injury.
There was a no, Prime Video special. This is a side note.
Okay. Okay.
And it was
Oh.
called something about 10,000 dates, 100,000 dates. I don't know. It was recent. And it was about a woman who had brain injury. So I think it was a car accident.
Mm.
No, that was the second injury. The first one was a concussion of some kind.
Hmm.
And then she had a successive injury. And but she seemed fine. Everything seemed fine.
Yeah.
Let's say these details are probably very incorrect. Five to
Yep.
10 years later, now suddenly her memory, like it was severe. This is
Yes.
she has
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
special after
Yeah.
her, but or about her. It was like severe memory loss.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
like that video, like that movie 50 First Dates with Drew Barrymore,
Oh, right. Where
Adam
you
Sandler.
forget. Yes.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
that. It was like
Yes.
every day her husband would
Yeah.
have to remind her who she was, who
Um,
he was.
yeah.
But it goes back to your point of this was a previous
Hmm.
injury
Incident.
now
Yes.
or incident that now is affecting her. So that is so crazy. It's just like, so
Hmm.
don't ignore
Hmm.
these things that happen in life. And if those
Hmm.
things do happen, don't worry, but do
Yes.
take precautions and do
Yeah.
extra care for
Yeah.
nourishing your brain, I
Yeah.
would say.
Yeah. Well, and it's all about lifestyle. And that's why I love what you do and what you teach because it's creating healthy habits that you don't even think about. You get up, you drink your water.
Done.
Done. It's not like, oh gosh, I got to drink water. Oh, and you're the time, you just do it,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So it's creating those habits. We have a dog, so I have to walk the dog. It's creating those habits that are lifestyle habits that you enjoy, and it just becomes part of who you are and what you do.
This is going to be tough to answer, I know, because it's like, well, how do I narrow this down? What would be 1 to 3 things that someone could do today or in the next week to start supporting their brain health and their memory now? One to
Okay.
three things.
1 to 3 things. Okay. So, as I said, water. So, as you're drinking water, um, so I get people coming to me and I'll say, drink water. And they'll say, and I think you said this too on my podcast, but it's the timing of when you're drinking water. So
Yeah.
when you get up in the morning, have 2 to 3 glasses of water because you're dehydrated, for one, and it'll also get your bowels moving.
Hmm.
So your colon gets dehydrated. So we have a coffee and that, makes us go to the washroom. No, you've just dehydrated yourself even more. So water. Get good fats in your diet. So the avocado, the olive oil, the eggs. I think most people know that. And
But you know
MCT
what?
oil, they
Here's the
don't do it.
They
Yeah.
don't, yeah, people know it, they know it, but then when you even think about yourself, so if you're listening to
Yeah.
this, you're like, I know fats for the brain, and you're like, wait, when was the last time I had eggs for breakfast instead of
Yeah.
toast or eggs
Yeah.
on my toast?
True.
Really
True.
think about your
True.
life and
Yes.
do I do this? Do I actually take that stuff? Oh, magnesium doesn't work. When was the last time you took it? If we're talking about
Right.
magnesium for sleep, let's
Right.
say.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I've only taken it twice this week, so I want people to
Mhm.
really take this in. So water,
Mhm.
hydration is huge.
The
Fats,
good
add
fats. Yeah.
more. Add
Yeah.
more good
Yeah.
fats.
And so I would say inflammation. So if we're talking about the older generation, there's a lot of inflammation there and change up your diet. So, get off as you said, the breads, the crackers, those kind of cookies, those kind of things that cause the inflammation. Dairy causes inflammation, but they're like, oh, but I need the calcium for my bones. Eat some almonds, like,
Can of
yeah, and
salmon.
salmon, yeah.
And
And
yes, I can
that's
say
why, like with the memory method program, I cater it to what those people need. So maybe
yeah.
someone already is doing the fats and doing the water. Okay, well, what can we do next to add to your healthy habits? So the other one is, and I think we talked about this one. See, it's simple, practical advice
Comes back to
that we
basics.
need. That's right. That's right. So getting rest at night. So be consistent with your sleep pattern. And, like I said, I've said this, I think, or you said it. Um, we have an alarm to get up in the morning, but we don't have an alarm to go to bed at night.
Mm,
So set an alarm on your phone if that's what you need. And it's like 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 11 o'clock, whatever time is you feel deemed to go to bed, then go to bed. Get yourself ready an hour before. This is bedtime. So I will hear people say, but I can't fall asleep. Once you get that rhythm going, you will fall asleep.
mhm,
And the other thing I would say is intermittent fasting.
mhm,
So, you know, dinner is the last meal of the day. And if it's 5, 6 o'clock, no eating, minimum 3 hours before bedtime. And then, so if it's 5, 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock rolls around the next morning, seven, you just fasted for 12, 13, maybe 14 hours. That also give your digestion a rest. And then, it also helps for your liver to detox. And when you're in that deep sleep, the brain does a little purging and it filters through the liver and then the liver gets rid of it. And that's why when we wake up, we have to go to the bathroom.
mhm,
And if you're not going to the bathroom, something's up. So you get up because your body's getting rid of all those toxins when you were sleeping. So the brain does a purge, gets rid of all those unwanted proteins, and then the liver does a purge as well. And that's usually, between 2 and 4 in the morning when you're sleeping. And when do people wake up? Around that time, they either have to go to the washroom and then they can't fall back to sleep, or they can fall back to sleep. But yeah, I would say sleep, water, and then getting some good fats. Those would be the three things. And start today, and also, exercise. And it doesn't, I say
Also,
exercise, but movement. Just
yes.
move. And we're constantly, so let's say for moms, they get the kids to bed, and what do? They're tired, they're exhausted, and they just flip on their phone,
Mm,
or YouTube shorts or whatever it is. And you're sitting, you're sedentary, and an hour, 2 hours go by, and you're like, oh, what did I do tonight? Nothing. Once the weather gets good again, we can get out walking, after dinner. So those kind of things. So again, going back to basics,
yes.
turn the electronics off.
Mhm.
If you have to check for me, my emails. So you have to check it once, let it go, maybe check it again at the end of the day, but then be practical.
Yeah. And go back to
Yeah.
basics and just
Yep.
be a human being, movement,
Yep.
exercise, good food,
Yep.
water,
Yep.
and then not the refined,
Yes.
highly,
Yeah.
highly
Yeah.
refined stuff. And I love what you said. Dinner is your last meal. Dinner is your last bite of food of the day.
Right.
For
Right.
so many people, everybody, for so many reasons, this is the way
Yep.
that we should be eating and
Hmm.
living. It's just so
Hmm.
helpful for oh my goodness, so many people and so many things. What would you say are, and we've talked about this, but just in case there are any that we haven't touched on, or
Hmm.
repetition is also key, what
Yes.
are contributing factors that could affect cognitive or memory decline?
What are, well, blood sugar for one,
Mhm.
inflammation, so insulin resistance. And so many people are insulin resistant and they don't realize it. So I would say that's a big one. And then inflammation. So we all, like you, me, we all have inflammation throughout our body. And whether it's chronic, acute, but most of it is chronic and it's bringing that inflammation down. So, yeah, so I would say those would be two keys that you need to address.
And we can address it by the things that you just said, those three
Hmm.
things.
Yeah,
Those
yeah,
will
yeah.
directly address those.
But
Blood
it's
sugar
work.
balance
It's
and
work.
inflammation.
It's
It is
work.
work.
Yeah, yeah.
It is worth
So,
it.
yeah, yeah. Well, it
Feels
depends
good.
how you want to live the rest of your life, right? Do you
Yeah.
want to have energy? Like we all fantasize over retirement, and
Mhm.
I'm going to do this, that, and this. And then I listen to people coming to me, and they're exhausted. They have no energy to do anything,
Yeah.
and yeah, and then they don't know what day of the week it is
Like,
because
are
you're
you enjoying
retired.
yourself? Like,
Yeah.
how
Oh,
are
I
you
know
feeling?
garbage day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, yeah.
But
But
it's like,
so go
you
ahead.
go.
No, I don't know. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Like, people say, well, that's just so restrictive and that's just so tough.
Mm,
But then, to your point, well, how are you feeling?
mm,
Do you
mm-hmm,
feel
mm-hmm.
great? So then this
Yeah,
is going to be tough. A little bit of
yeah,
discomfort for a lot of
yeah,
comfort after,
yeah,
or
yeah,
comfort now because you want to live
yeah.
the way you want to live, but then a
Mm-hmm.
lot of discomfort for the rest of your life because of the effects of the way you're living.
Right, right, right. And I remember this when my son was really small, and I used to take him to swimming lessons. So I'd have to hold him, because he didn't swim yet. And I remember seeing a lady there. She was a grandma, and she was swimming with her granddaughter. And I thought, that's beautiful. That's
Yeah.
beautiful. That she's able to do that. And she came every week with her granddaughter. And yeah, so that's what I want people to experience. So, life doesn't end because you retire, life begins, and you want to have that energy and mental function to enjoy your retirement.
Oh my gosh, I so agree. And again, at almost 40, it feels like that's far off, but that's not far off. In fact, getting into my 40s this year, I'm like, oh, that's really not that far. I'm now
Hmm.
realizing,
Hmm.
oh my gosh, I'm not going to be in my 30s. And I really want to enjoy that time of my life, just like I want
Hmm.
to enjoy this one. So
Hmm.
the work starts now, the work continues now.
Yes,
And
that's
it
right.
is
Yeah.
work, but as you said too before, when it becomes a habit, it's not
Hmm.
work anymore. It's like, oh
Hmm.
yeah, I just go for a walk to work. That's how
Hmm.
I get to my job. Oh yeah, I just have water with me all the time because that's now my ingrained habit. So it's
Hmm.
tough at first and it's
Hmm.
work, but then it becomes your normal, so it becomes easy to do, and then you're feeling so good from it that you just want
Hmm.
to continue. So it
That's
really
right.
is a
That's
good
right.
cycle in that way.
Yeah. The other thing I noticed, Laura, so we go through different seasons in life as we age, perimenopause, menopause, post-menopause. That's for women, that's one section. But the other thing is the seasons, the 4 seasons of the year. So wintertime, we're docile maybe, and maybe feeling a little depressed. So, again, we might eat at night, we might eat the wrong things. Spring comes, we've a little spring in our step, and summer comes, fall comes, and then we kind of fall off the wagon of healthy habits. And that's what I'm trying to ingrain in people, like, regardless of the season of the year or the season of your life, that you want to create these healthy habits. So I have a customer, and she won't mind me telling you this. She works in accounting, and so it's all numbers all day, and she's doing supplements, and that's another part of the program that we can do some supplements. And again, it's catered to what you need and what you can afford.
Mhm.
um, she's concerned for her cognitive health, and she's doing lots of things to keep her sharp because she wants to keep working till she's 65. But she's recognizing that I'm not as sharp as I used to be. So she's enhancing through diet and supplements to keep her mind sharp so that yeah, so she can keep her job, basically.
So
But
good.
yeah, and she's noticing, yeah, she's just not as sharp as she used to be. But
Wow.
yeah, so I would say through the seasons of life, through the seasons of the year, it's creating those healthy habits. And sometimes we do need to supplement to enhance.
I was going to ask you that. And again, it's hard. It's hard and everyone's individual, but
Yes.
is there one supplement that you would say, if you're going to do nothing else, start here for
Hmm.
memory and brain health?
Again, it depends where people are at. So I would say in the last 6 months, maybe 8 months, I'm getting a lot of women coming in saying they've been diagnosed with non-alcoholic fatty liver. So basically, what that is fat cells are replacing liver cells. And the liver does over 500 biological functions. Like, it never sleeps, it's 24/7, it does so much, digests foods and works with hormones. So if those fat cells are replacing the proper liver cells, then you're not getting the benefit of what the liver should be doing. And so then they get diagnosed. So it's cholesterol and blood sugar, those two things that you need to address. And and then you could do milk thistle to help support your liver as well. Sorry, and I forgot what your question was.
Supplement for brain health. I know I
Brain
always do
health.
that too.
Okay. So look at that, and because cholesterol makes all your other hormones, but I would say for brain health, choline, and which is a B vitamin. It's a minor B vitamin, and then lion's mane, if you're okay with mushrooms. And
Mhm.
that's a simple thing that you can do. A big one that's coming out now, it's NMN. it's a long word that I can't, and it's another B vitamin. So when my mom was living with me, I used to get a product from AOR. It's called Ortho Mind,
Mhm.
and she used to take that all the time. And it has the choline, it has some B vitamins in it. Um, Bacopa is another one. So you can get a whole complex of different supplements. So again, it depends where you're at. Or if you're just feeling a little, okay, cognitive, I just need, that's when I would just do lion's mane and sometimes just B vitamins because your energy and you just need that little boost because
Right.
moms, like for you, your demographics, they're stressed.
Yeah.
And sometimes just having a little bit of B vitamin or even iron, because you have your period, you've lost all that iron, you want to replenish it. And sometimes just simple things like that can put you over the edge of cognitive health. But again, it's very individualized and it depends what what's your end result. Where do you see yourself in a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years? What do you want to do today? You know, um, that your future self will thank you.
Mm. Yeah, I'm always about future self. What can we do today that she
Yes.
will thank you for? I love that.
Yeah.
When it comes to choline, would you suggest lecithin or is there a straight choline supplement?
There is, but it's very hard to get right now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was
But
curious.
I don't know if that would be my exact go-to. I
Mhm.
would really assess where the person is at.
Okay.
So our brain makes acetylcholine. You can't get a supplement like that. So choline will help the brain make that, but is that what you need? So basically in the brain, there's too much plaque. And so we need to address that and get the plaque down. And it starts with having a good night's sleep so that the brain can purge.
Yes.
Yeah,
Get
yeah,
toxins out and
yeah.
just
And the
toxins.
brain, yeah, and the brain makes insulin to support itself. It's very minute, but if it's congested, then then it's not working efficiently.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
Also, interesting you say choline, and I know you're saying, well, maybe that's not what the person needs. It depends.
yeah, yep.
But it's interesting you say that because we need to take choline in pregnancy and breastfeeding
Oh,
so strong. Like there's such strong evidence that shows you need
mm.
choline, eggs being a great source of it,
Yes, yes.
because like the egg yolk specifically
Mm-hmm.
as of the baby's brain developing
Right,
and nervous
right.
system. And then during breastfeeding, our needs for vitamin D and choline are even higher than they were
Mm-hmm.
during pregnancy to ensure that our milk has enough of a supply. So it's
Right.
interesting that, okay, fast forward,
Yeah,
baby is a baby now, fast forward 60 years, and that choline that they had at birth, hopefully, and in
yeah.
their childhood, now you need it again. And hopefully that will have, given you those good stores to start with. But it's just interesting. Just
Yeah, oh, I didn't know that. And when you're saying your stores or your choline and vitamin D requirements are a lot more, but you have to think the baby is growing now and they're
Mhm.
getting bigger, so they need more of those nutrients. That
Yes,
makes
and
sense.
mom
Yeah.
needs nutrients.
Yeah.
But baby takes priority, of course. So it all goes to
Yes.
baby. And then what
Yes.
is mom left with? And let's look at quote unquote mom brain and
I
how
was
it
just gonna
can
say,
get
yeah.
progressively worse with each pregnancy.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
your nutrient stores are being depleted. Like this is a real thing
Mm-hmm.
with each pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on pregnancy 4. It's like I really need
Mm-hmm.
to make sure my nutrient stores are being replenished by food, but
Mm-hmm.
also by supplements where needed. It's like
Mm-hmm,
so
mm-hmm,
important.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, and we know that our food is not full of nutrients like it used to be. And
Mhm.
so I feel like you need to supplement. So people will ask me, should I take a multivitamin? And I'll ask them, what are you doing? Like where are you? Are you stressed? Is your job really demanding? Your family demands? Are you moving? And how I recommend multis is if it's a supplement to what you're already doing. So if you are going through a stressful time, let's say your daughter's getting married, it's not the norm. You're yeah, you're looking after your parents, you need that extra nutrients. That's when I would do a multi. Or you're pregnant.
Or if you're pregnant,
Yeah,
definitely
yeah,
done.
yeah, yeah.
Now, how does somebody get signed up for your course? Where do they go?
Oh, so a couple of ways. I think in your show notes, you'll have the website so they
Yes.
can go there. The information's there. If they want, they can reach out to me on Instagram and it's Talk to Vicky, Vicky with a Y, RHN, Registered Holistic Nutritionist. Talk to Vicky, RHN on Instagram so you can connect with me. Send me a message there. I have these great PDFs. One is six invaluable tips to eliminate brain fog. Another one is ways to take back your sleep so you can take back your day. So you're welcome to those. Those are free. So you get yourself started. And if it's not for you, maybe it's for your parents. So reach out to me on Instagram, send me a message. I can send that to you. It's also in the link tree section. If you go in there, you can just download those PDFs.
Perfect.
And yeah, that would be the best way. And again, check out Laura's show notes. I think there'll be information
Yep.
there as well. So
All the
that
links will be
would be
there.
great. Yeah. And maybe you don't want that. Maybe you just have a question. So just again, just reach out and I will do my best to answer your questions. Now, I will say the store that I have does have a an online presence. So if you do want to try choline or milk thistle or something for fatty liver, then just reach out to us, goodhealthmarthamilton.com, and we can ship anything out anywhere.
Amazing. That's so helpful.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And so to connect with you, Instagram is it the best? I know your website,
yep,
vickyhachey.com. We'll put
yep,
that in the show notes too.
yep, yep,
Instagram
yeah.
might be
And then
best.
I think my email, the one I gave you is vjhashy, RHN, um, HACHEY, at gmail.com is another way. But I think, again, you'll have it in the show notes so they can do that as that's okay.
So
Yeah.
the show notes will have all the links, so it's easy to
Hmm.
find Vicky and all of her awesome stuff. Thank you so much for
Hmm.
coming on. This has been a really
Oh,
fun talk.
oh, this has been wonderful and so wonderful to connect with you, Laura. And I hope to see you at the store sometime soon.
Absolutely. You
Yeah,
will.
please pop by and say hi.
Absolutely. We definitely will. Have a great
Great.
day.
Yeah, you too.